This is the read aloud for LAE. Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing today? So I have a book that kind of goes in with our topic of Earth Day. I thought it was a good story to review kind of what Earth Day was all about and why it's so important. And this story is based on a true story. So what do you think that means? And then I would probably have the students be like, it means it happened in real life. And I'm like, yes, it did happen in real life. This actually happened. So we're going to be learning about a woman named Wangari who helped the earth. So I just want to ask, does anyone remember what our discussion was with plants? Why are plants so important to the earth? And then they would come up with all the answers that we kind of have been embedding in their heads. Plants give us oxygen, plants produce fruit and food for us, and plants do a lot of things. So to kind of touch up on that before I would start, going over it. And then I'd probably just be like, so this is the book that we're going to be reading called Wangari's Tree of Peace. Look, I know that we've talked about nonfiction and fiction, and typically a nonfiction book has illustration, or a fiction book has illustrations, a nonfiction book has photographs. But are these illustrations or are they photographs? And then I would have them think about it and be like, that's an illustration. But I just said that this story was based on a true story. So what do you think? Would it be fiction or nonfiction? Fiction means fake, remember. So then they would tell me it's nonfiction. Okay, so we are going to read Wangari's Tree of Peace, a true story from Africa by Jeanette Winter. Wangari lives under an umbrella of green trees in the shadow of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watches the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather for firewood and for cooking. And she helps harvest the sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize from the rich soil. Maize is corn. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall, like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. So look, she's leaving her home to go to a whole new world. Look, I think that's the Statue of Liberty. Just to go to school. Isn't that so crazy? 6 years later, her studies were over. Wangari returns to her Kenya home and sees a change. What do we think is going on here? Where did all the trees go? What has happened, she wonders. Where are the trees? Wangari sees women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops grow. Let's stop and think. What do we think barren means? If I say, she sees barren land where no crops grow. And we're looking at the picture, so let's use our context clues. What do we think barren means? Then I'd have the students think about it. Be like, oh, it means it's empty. And where are the birds? Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one wanted to plant new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert? She wonders as her tears fall. Look, she's thinking about how her land's going to become a city now. Do you think she looks happy there? I don't think so either. Wangari thinks about the barren land. I can begin to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. Watching the seedlings take root, Wangari gives the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. So let's go back. Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm for baby trees, a nursery. So what's a nursery? A farm for baby trees. In an open space, she plants row after row of the tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have the trees again. You'll see, we're planting the seeds of hope. Look, and there she is, passing on the trees. The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in long rows, like a green belt stretching over the land. See? The government men laugh. Ha ha! Women can't do this, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignore the laughter and keep planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings ever. What do we think earnings mean? What is this? Money. Word travels like wind rustling through leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon, other women in the other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. But the cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak to protect the old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. They call her a troublemaker and put her in jail. And still, she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the trees spreads over all of Africa, like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in longer and longer rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 30 million trees where there were once none. The umbrella of green in Kenya returns. Women walk tall with their backs straight. For now, they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes, sugarcane, and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her many army of women who planted them. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya today, you would see the millions of trees growing below you, and the green Wangari brought back to Africa. The end. So who helped restore the trees? What was the girl's name? And then I would kind of just review the book from there, ask questions. So who was Wangari? What was the problem? What was the solution? Stuff like that. And then final conclusion. So how do we like the book? And then the students will have the option to answer. And